Your age spots will disappear. Not might, not could, will. If you understand 5 things your doctor has never once mentioned to you, and by the end of this video, you will understand all 5. I want to be direct with you right from the start, my friend. Everything you've been told about age spots is incomplete. You've been told it's the sun, you've been told it's just aging, you've been told to slather on SPF and buy the expensive creams, and you've followed that advice, yet the spots are still there, maybe even spreading. That's not a coincidence. That's what happens when you're only getting half the picture. The 5 reasons I'm about to walk you through are not experimental. They're not fringe. The science behind them is documented, published, and very real. What they are is inconvenient because none of them involve a procedure to bill for or a prescription to write. So they don't get said in the appointments. They get said here. Stay with me till the end. The 5th reason, the one I cover last, is the one that overrides everything else. I have watched patients do everything right and still see new spots appear every single time because this one factor was never addressed. You need to hear it. My name is Dr. Alan Mandell. I have spent over 4 decades studying exactly this, why adults over 60 develop accelerating skin pigmentation that standard dermatology consistently fails to reverse, and what actually works instead. This channel exists because that answer deserves to be heard clearly, completely, and without a copay. People who decided that real evidence-based health information is worth having in their lives. If that is why you are here, too, subscribe now and become part of that. Every subscriber is a signal that this kind of content matters and should keep being made. It takes 3 seconds and it means more than you might think. Now let's get into the 5 reasons, starting with one that has nothing to do with the sun. Before we get into the 5 reasons, you need to understand what is actually happening inside your skin, because once you understand the mechanism, everything else will make complete sense. Deep in the lower layers of your skin live specialized cells called melanocytes. Their sole function is to produce melanin, the pigment that gives your skin its color. In a healthy, well-regulated body, melanocytes distribute that pigment evenly across the surface. Skin looks clear, consistent, and uniform. Now, here is what disrupts that process. Melanocytes are not autonomous. They respond to signals. Hormonal signals, inflammatory signals, nutritional signals, toxin load signals. When those signals are clean and balanced, melanocytes behave in an orderly, even way. But when those signals become chaotic due to internal dysfunction that has been quietly building for years, melanocytes respond in kind. Some cells slow down entirely, others flood a single point with a concentrated surge of pigment. The result is a dark patch against lighter surrounding skin. Here is the critical insight. Age itself does not break melanocytes. What breaks them are specific, identifiable physiological processes that can be targeted and corrected. Those processes are the 5 reasons we are going to walk through right now. Reason 5, your gut is producing invisible full-body inflammation. Most people have never heard this. Most dermatologists never say it. And yet the scientific evidence connecting gut health to skin pigmentation is among the most compelling in this entire field. Here is what is happening inside your body right now. Your gut contains trillions of bacteria, beneficial and harmful, that together regulate inflammation throughout your entire system. When that ecosystem is balanced, your gut wall functions as a precise, selective barrier. Only what belongs in your bloodstream crosses through. But when that bacterial balance is disrupted by decades of processed food, repeated antibiotic use, or chronic stress, the gut wall physically degrades. Bacterial fragments and inflammatory compounds leak through into circulation. Your immune system immediately responds with a body-wide inflammatory reaction. Silent, invisible, no pain, no fever, but relentless. That chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the most direct triggers for melanocyte disruption known to science. It is the fuel that converts a moment of sun exposure into a permanent dark spot rather than a temporary tan. A landmark study published in the Journal of Investigative Dermatology found that patients with measurably disrupted gut microbiomes develop significant hyperpigmentation at rates far exceeding those with healthy gut flora, independent of sun exposure, age, and skin type. I treated a 67-year-old retired school teacher who had used a high-end vitamin C brightening serum every single morning for 14 months. The spots darkened anyway. When we assessed her gut health, the markers were unmistakable. Severe microbiome disruption. 8 weeks after addressing that specifically and nothing else, her pigmentation began to visibly soften. She told me she had spent more on that serum than on everything else in her skincare routine combined. The fix does not require expensive probiotic capsules. 2 tablespoons daily of traditionally fermented sauerkraut, not the commercial variety preserved in vinegar, but naturally lacto-fermented with nothing but cabbage and salt. A small glass of plain kefir each evening before bed. Short shelf life, 7 days maximum. The shorter the shelf life, the more live bacteria it contains. These 2 changes alone deliver a significant volume of beneficial bacteria directly to the gut. Pro tip most people miss: take the kefir specifically at night, not morning. Your gut performs its deepest repair and bacterial integration work during sleep. Timing is not a minor detail here. It is the difference between bacteria that integrate and bacteria that simply pass through. Reason 4. Your liver is routing unprocessed compounds through your skin. Your liver performs more than 500 functions simultaneously. 500 is not rhetorical. That is the documented physiological count. And one of those functions, the one no dermatologist will bring up, is a direct influence on your skin condition. Here is what is happening. Every single day, compounds enter your body through food, air, and water that require processing and neutralization before they can safely leave. The liver is the primary filter. Its job is to intercept those compounds, render them harmless, and route them out through the kidneys and digestive tract. But when the liver becomes overloaded, when it cannot fully process the incoming volume, it redistributes part of that workload to secondary elimination systems. One of those systems is your skin. This is not metaphor. Your skin is a functioning excretory organ. When partially unprocessed compounds begin passing through skin tissue, they irritate the cells they contact, including the melanocytes. Irritated melanocytes behave erratically. They dump pigment chaotically into the areas where skin is thinnest: the face, the hands, the neck, the chest. Research confirms that by age 75, blood flow through the liver decreases by approximately 30%, and the organ itself can reduce in volume by 20 to 40%. It is slower. The overflow reaches the skin more often, and this accelerates exactly in the decade, your 60s, when people begin noticing the most rapid spread of age spots. Applying brightening cream to the situation is exactly like repainting a wall with a burst pipe behind it. It is not just ineffective, it is the wrong intervention entirely. A 71-year-old patient of mine had undergone 3 separate professional laser treatments at significant expense. The spots returned within 6 weeks after each one. When we looked at his liver function markers, the picture became clear immediately. We addressed the liver. The spots stopped coming back. The fix is 3 steps and costs almost nothing. Warm water with fresh lemon every morning before eating. Body temperature approximately 98 degrees. Not hot, not cold. This gently stimulates bile flow, which thickens overnight and needs encouragement to move. Dandelion root tea before your main meal. 2 tablespoons of dried root per cup of boiling water. Steeped 20 minutes, half a cup before eating. And eliminate partially hydrogenated oils, trans fats from your diet completely. Read ingredient labels. If you see those words, put it back on the shelf. Pro tip: if you have elevated stomach acid, replace the lemon with half a teaspoon of raw honey in the warm water. The stimulating effect on bile is comparable. The gentleness is not. Reason 3, a mineral imbalance is locking the pigment in place. This one surprises almost everyone, including many clinicians. Your skin renews itself through a continuous cycle of cell turnover. In your 30s, that cycle completes in roughly 28 days. By age 60, research shows it can take twice as long, sometimes longer. Most people attribute this entirely to aging. The truth is more specific than that. Two minerals govern the renewal process and the pigment production rate simultaneously: zinc and copper. Zinc is essential for skin cell division and the repair of damaged tissue. Copper regulates an enzyme called tyrosinase, the enzyme that controls how actively melanocytes produce melanin. When copper is elevated relative to zinc, tyrosinase operates in overdrive. Pigment production accelerates. Spots intensify and spread regardless of sun exposure. A study published in the British Journal of Dermatology identified a disrupted zinc to copper ratio as a consistent contributing factor in progressive hyperpigmentation in adults over 60. Zinc deficiency produces no sharp, identifiable symptom, no pain, no obvious sign. It operates in complete silence, which is precisely why it is so rarely identified. I had a 64-year-old patient, active, health conscious, eating what by every conventional measure was a balanced diet. Her zinc levels were at the clinical floor. 3 months of targeted dietary correction, and her dermatologist, who had not been told what we were doing, noted visible improvement in skin tone and pigmentation distribution on her next visit. The fix is simple and inexpensive. 1 ounce of raw, unsalted pumpkin seeds daily, one of the most zinc-dense foods in existence, available at any grocery store. Egg yolks, 2 per day, contribute meaningfully. Shellfish, particularly oysters, are the most concentrated source available if they are accessible to you. Pro tip: if you cook regularly in cast iron, be aware that it increases your iron intake. Iron competes directly with zinc for absorption. This is an interaction almost nobody mentions, and it may be silently offsetting the zinc you are getting from food. Reason 2, vitamin D deficiency is uncalibrating the cells that produce your pigment. The data on this is unambiguous and consistently underreported in clinical practice. The overwhelming majority of adults over 60 have insufficient or clinically deficient vitamin D levels. Most of them have no idea because vitamin D deficiency does not announce itself. There is no pain, no dramatic symptom. It works the way rust works on iron, invisible until the structure begins to fail. Here is what is happening inside your body. Melanocytes carry vitamin D receptors. These receptors, when adequately activated, keep melanocytes calibrated, producing pigment proportionally, distributing it evenly across the skin surface. When vitamin D is deficient, those receptors go unstimulated. Calibration fails. Melanocytes drift toward erratic, uneven pigment production. Research published in JAMA Dermatology found that vitamin D insufficiency was present in the substantial majority of patients presenting with significant progressive hyperpigmentation after age 60. This is one of the most consistent findings in the literature on this subject, and it is almost never the first or the second thing a dermatologist checks. I think of a 68-year-old patient, active, healthy weight, non-smoker. Her skin was her only concern, and it was deteriorating every year. Her vitamin D level came back at 18, clinically insufficient. Within 4 months of correction, diet and sunlight, no supplements, her dermatologist documented measurable improvement. The fix does not require expensive capsules. 15 minutes outdoors between April and September with your forearms and face exposed is sufficient to generate your body's daily vitamin D requirement. That is free and available to almost everyone. Then food. 100 grams of salted herring provides approximately 1.5 times the daily recommended intake. 2 egg yolks contribute around 30%. 1 teaspoon of cod liver oil covers the remainder. Pro tip, and this one is critical: vitamin D is fat soluble. It requires dietary fat present in the same meal to absorb properly. Never eat vitamin D-rich foods in a fat-free context. A pat of butter, a drizzle of unrefined oil, sour cream alongside the herring. Without fat, the vitamin D passes through unabsorbed and the entire effort is wasted. This single detail is almost universally overlooked. Reason 1, chronic stress is producing the exact hormone that tells your skin to darken. I told you to stay until the end. This is why. You can do everything else on this list with complete consistency. You can correct your gut, support your liver, balance your minerals, restore your vitamin D, and if this one factor is left unaddressed, your spots will continue to spread. I have seen it happen many times, and I have seen the moment patients finally understand why. Here is the mechanism, and it is more direct than most people realize. When your body is in a state of chronic stress, the quiet, habitual kind that no longer feels like stress because it has simply become the background noise of daily life, your brain maintains a continuous low-level activation of the adrenal stress response. Cortisol circulates, the nervous system stays on alert, but the mechanism that drives pigmentation is not cortisol directly. Chronic stress elevates production of a compound called propionmelanocortin, POMC. POMC is a precursor protein, the raw material from which your body manufactures several hormones at once, including one called alpha-MSH. A direct, potent stimulator of melanocyte activity. More sustained stress means more POMC. More POMC means a continuous melanin production signal sent to your skin cells, regardless of the season, regardless of your sun exposure, regardless of what you are applying topically. Research published in Psychoneuroendocrinology demonstrated that individuals with chronically elevated cortisol showed significantly increased alpha-MSH activity, correlating directly with measurable worsening of skin pigmentation over a 12-month observation period. In 20 years of practice, I have watched patients follow every dietary and topical protocol with complete precision. Kefir every night, lemon water every morning, mask 3 times a week, and still see new spots appear. In the majority of those cases, when we finally examine the stress load and address that specifically, the trajectory changed. The solution is not to eliminate stress. That is not a prescription. That is a fantasy. What you can do is train your body to mount a calmer biological response to the stress that is already there. The 4-7-8 breathing technique. Every night before sleep, sit or lie comfortably. Inhale through your nose for a slow count of 4. Hold for 7. Calmly without strain. Exhale through your mouth for 8. Long, deliberate, audible, as though blowing out a candle across the room. 4 complete cycles, 2 minutes. This activates the vagus nerve, the primary nerve of your parasympathetic system, the biological off switch for the stress response. Heart rate slows measurably, blood pressure drops, cortisol decreases, and critically, deep sleep improves. Because it is during deep sleep, specifically deep sleep, not just time in bed, that your skin performs its cellular renewal. No deep sleep means no complete regeneration. No complete regeneration means spots accumulate faster than your skin can clear them. 2 minutes every night. The science behind it is solid. Do not let the simplicity mislead you. One honest question before we continue. When was the last day you went to bed without something unresolved sitting in your chest? Here is your complete daily protocol. Not a suggestion, a specific, sequenced system designed to work on all 5 factors simultaneously. Every morning, warm lemon water before eating. Body temperature, not hot. Oatmeal with grated carrot and a teaspoon of butter. Beta-carotene from the carrot requires fat to absorb. Without the fat, it passes straight through. 5 minutes of lymphatic movement. 30 slow heel drops standing. 30 seconds of seated heel pulses. Full body overhead stretch held 10 seconds. With your main meal, half a cup of dandelion root tea before eating. 2 tablespoons of tomato paste incorporated into your meal. Lycopene, released only when tomatoes are heated, is one of the most potent internal antioxidants documented for UV-related skin protection. 1 ounce of raw, unsalted pumpkin seeds as your afternoon snack. Every evening, 2 tablespoons of fermented sauerkraut with dinner. Small glass of plain kefir 1 hour before bed. Short shelf life only. 4-7-8 breathing, 4 cycles before sleep, 3 evenings per week. 1 tablespoon of kefir, half a teaspoon of honey, 1 small pinch of turmeric. Mix and apply to face, neck, hands, and chest. 15 minutes. Rinse with warm water, no soap, pat dry, never rub, important. For 3 full days before beginning the mask, stop washing your face with any soap or cleanser. Warm water only. This allows the skin barrier to rebuild, and an intact barrier responds to active ingredients calmly. A compromised one inflames, and inflammation produces more pigment. This is why so many home remedies backfire. This protocol costs less per week than a single tube of brightening cream, and unlike that cream, it is aimed at the actual source of the problem. 5 reasons. A disrupted gut microbiome generating invisible systemic inflammation, an overloaded liver routing unprocessed compounds through your skin, a mineral imbalance locking the melanin production enzyme in overdrive, vitamin D deficiency leaving melanocyte receptors unstimulated and uncalibrated, and chronic stress continuously triggering the hormone that directly signals your skin to produce more pigment. Each of these alone contributes. Together, they create the full picture of why those spots appeared, why they are spreading, and why every cream you have tried has left them exactly where they were. This is not inevitable. This is not simply aging. This is physiology, and physiology can be addressed. Your skin has been working for you in silence for more than 6 decades. Every day without complaint, without rest, without asking for anything in return, it has been absorbing the signals of every internal imbalance, every nutrient gap, every stress response, and showing you the result in the mirror. You now know what those signals mean, and you have the tools to answer them. Not with an expensive procedure, not with a prescription, but with a clear understanding of what is actually happening inside your body and a specific, affordable plan to support it. Take a photograph of your face today. Put it somewhere you will find it in 4 weeks. Your skin has more capacity to recover than you have ever been told. Start tonight. If this video gave you insights your last few appointments didn't, please subscribe to the channel. Every week we break down natural health topics for adults seeking real answers, clearly explained, rooted in how the body works, with no products or affiliates. Hit the like button if it resonated. It helps this information reach others who might be spending on approaches that miss the mark. In the comments, share which of the 5 factors feels most relevant to your experience. I read them, and it shapes future topics. Share this with a loved one, partner, parent, or friend who's been wondering why nothing seems to make a lasting difference. You never know whose journey you might positively impact. Your body is intelligent and responsive. Support it naturally, be patient and consistent, and watch how it responds. Take care of yourself. Be wise, be aware, and as always, I'm here to walk this journey with you. Make it a great day. I'm Dr. Alan Mandell.